Okay, part two, we are live again. I'm so sorry if you were watching the first one and you were getting frustrated because what Sue has to say is so valuable. I don't want you to miss anything. And we were just having some sound problems. So this is part two of 5 tips, 5 strategies to get your business bounced back after lockdown. And Sue was just going over sort of an overview of the kind of things you need to be thinking about, to have in your mind before you start putting practical steps in place. Is that fair to say, Sue?
Yes, definitely. I think we talked about the discipline and having a routine and not overfacing yourself at this present time with huge decisions to make. You know, small steps, focus. Don't worry too much about what everyone else is doing. Focus on what you do and what on your business, whether your business is open or not open at the moment. If you're thinking of moving forwards and you know what's the future, you focus on you and your purpose, your why, and what to get to your vision and your end destination. What do you have to put in place to make that happen? And I think each day have a little reminder of, you know, what does success look like to you for that day. So it might be for some people, put some makeup on or get dressed. It might be for some people, you know, actually I'm going to get up at X time and I'm going to make sure I do an exercise routine, walk the dog as I do, or I'm actually going to sit and start work and do an hour's planet working on the business. I'm going to draw out, you know, and so it's just small steps to make things happen. And then you'll find, as I have personally, you know, as you get into that, suddenly you become a bit more excited and the motivation comes back, and then you feel that you want to work on the business for the future. I think as well, what's really important, and probably Sam, you're, you know, something I know I've had to look at as well, is at the moment I seem to be busier than ever, but that's just because, you know, unfortunately we've had to make some changes within the network. The network is still very much out there and is still running, and we are really busy but unfortunately some of my team are furloughed, but that's a good thing because we're looking after them, and that's really important. Look after your people. But obviously that means that personally, myself and Dave, you know, we're doing the job of several people. But but again, what you have to think about with that is you're a human being. You can only do so much. So again, I actually wrote myself a job description out the other day. That's a really good idea to do. Yeah, write out what you think you have to do. And actually then what you start doing is just identifying what are the critical things that you need to then follow up with. And even if you do that each week, because every hour changes at the moment, but never mind each week, but it's just something. And I think the other thing is even if, like for me, working in the business at the moment so much, it's still really important to take a step back and take time to look at work on the business. What's the future? How, you know, we're sort of, I think there's been a real shift this last couple of weeks with people. There was very much the survival mode. It's now very much, well, what's next? What's the way forwards?
That's very true. Yeah, we're talking about the same with our clients, as you know. Although we run down, we also have a marketing agency, and with our clients, we're talking about revival now. You know, we're talking about like what happens next, what's the bounce back. I just want to pick up on a couple of things that you said, because one of the things you said was about feeling excited about your business, and I think that is so important. I was talking to one of my clients the other day who actually had the virus, and it took him a couple of weeks to get over it, and all his team were in furlough. So can you imagine, you know, what's going on? He's a busy estate agent with lots of letting properties. So to try and take those calls ill and all the rest of it was really hard for him. Anyway, he's come through it, and I said, what are you going to focus on now? He said, I want to put together a process manual. I said, how do you feel about that? And he goes, well, it needs to be done. I said, well, you know, yes, it needs to be done, but does it need to be done right now when you're feeling, you know, down and you've got your energy low, and, you know, it's not going to make you fall back in love with your business, is it, to do a process manual? Yes, it needs to be done, but does it need to be done now? You know, what could be done now is some really exciting marketing and business strategizing, business planning and growth planning.
Yeah.
So that you can feel like you're a bit more, you know, you're actually making progress rather than just kind of standing still. And that's what he's actually chosen to do, to just re-energize them a little bit. Because I think that's the other thing, that if we have taken time off our businesses because we've been told to shut our doors, and you know, you maybe only done the admin stuff at home, as an entrepreneur and business owner, that's probably not your strong point. Definitely isn't mine. So find something that excites you.
Yeah. No, and I think that is key, and that's what I have to keep. You know, the other day, you know, I suddenly sort of, I don't know, I'd come off a load of Zoom calls and I was a bit zoomed out, if I'm honest. It's the one thing that I think I'll be really pleased to see the back of is Zoom. But I came off the call and it was something someone had just said, and suddenly, you know, I found, like, I suppose, that entrepreneurship back in me, the excitement of an area that I hadn't really sort of formulated. So I was like, right, well, tomorrow, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to work on that. And that actually just helps reinvigorate you a little bit and energize you back. And you're right, you need to think, you know, work on something that excites you as well as working on the things that you have to do. I think it's getting that blend and that mix on there.
Yeah, definitely. And also, don't be afraid to be a bit honest with people as well. So all the calls for Ashdown Jones are routed through to my mobile. And every now and again I forget. And this morning at 9:15, when I was on my run, my phone rang because it was an unknown number. I realised I had to answer it, Ashdown Jones, with bar lambs in the background, you know. Yeah. And my dog trying to get through a gate. So I'm having to try and manage this. In the end, I just said, look, I'm really sorry, I'm out on a walk at the moment. You know, but I answer these questions for you and then deal with the rest later. And the guy was absolutely lovely. He's a local guy, actually. And we ended up having a good half an hour chat when I was supposed to be running. And I think it actually gave me the ability to have a deeper conversation with him. Then I would never have answered the phone in Ashdown Jones and had that kind of conversation because I don't normally have time. So actually, brought us into a conversation that allowed me to start a relationship with somebody that we hadn't had a previous relationship with.
And I think that's key. You know, when you talk to me about looking at the 5 things, and actually one of those is, if you're going to have a business, you know, going forwards, you need customers, you need clients, you need to build relations. So use this time to seek out who it might be that there's an audience of people out there that you've never spoken to or targeted to before. Do you know what? Everyone at the moment wants to talk. They want to pick up the phone, reach out to them. It's a, you know, without being crass, it's a really good opportunity to reach out to people that you might not have traditionally reached out to before. And if that's within your business thinking and your planning, it's really key to start as part of that, identifying who is going to be your future customer base, because some of your customers or clients you have now might not be your customers going forwards in the future. So it's really,
Have you noticed, Sue, that the local restaurants and you know, sort of eating establishments have suddenly realised that locals are actually a really good source of business for them, and they've actually, you know, they've got much more local friendly. I know some of them were anyway.
Yes,
but I think now they're realizing that actually, if they can keep a local community and not just rely 100% on tourists, then out of this stronger. And I've really felt that from some of our local eating establishments.
Yeah, I have. I mean, I'm sort of watching. You know, there's different restaurants who are suddenly like creating recipe. You know, in their cooking in their kitchen or making
Nicholson. Yes.
Making cocktails, or, you know, and all those things, and that's really good, because actually for me, you know, you at the moment you are very much shopping local. You're trying to support what you can. There's some great businesses out there doing some amazing things and amazing people, but you know, all the local deliveries that are happening, and actually I really hope that as locals we do our duty to our local restaurants and public pubs and other people, and we continue that, because it's really important. So I think it works both ways. I think, yes, they are realizing that we are here, and they've got a captive audience. And you know, and actually we're definitely a future audience for them. So I think, you know, that's a prime example of people looking to embrace that new target audience, whereas traditionally we are very much a tourist destination. But I think
that visibility, I think, you know, is key, because a lot of the local sort of cafe and you know, restaurant owners have actually just gone to ground, haven't they? And we just haven't seen them at all. But the people that have come out of the woodwork, like Jason Turner.
I was about to say, Jason, I'm following his cooking in the kitchen. It's brilliant.
I know. and Lucy, and actually, you know, what I have had the conversation with restaurateurs in the past is, but if I go on live, aren't people not just going to just recreate that at home and never come out to my restaurant? I can't wait to go and eat in San Pietro and loose on a plate. I can't wait, because they've been in my thoughts so much. You know, 3 weeks, that they've really stayed top of mind in the right ways. And actually, even this, right? So me and you are on the Ashdown Jones page. We're not talking about houses.
No, you know, I know.
Nothing to do with houses, because we can't sell a house at the moment, even though some people are buying them. We can't do viewings, we can't do valuations. So it's a way to use this time, but actually to help everybody by getting experts like you on. And so can you do that in your business, would be my question to people who are at the moment fairly invisible to their audience, and then maybe a new audience, you know, as we come out. Is that what you're saying? I'm sorry, I'm leading you with that question.
No, you're not. I mean, it's true. I mean, I have to look, we usually we're not an events machine, but we run events through the Family Business Network, but the big thing for us is the storytelling. You know, it's the storytelling of the different family businesses that then people learn from that. So we're just being a bit more agile and thinking, well, we need to now take that online. And so there's different things that we're doing. We've got sort of coming up over the next 2 months. We've got a series of 3. We're almost condensing our insight events and mini conference. That's the best way to describe it. And we're going to do 3, not too long. We're pre-recording stories with family businesses from all across the regions at the moment. And we're just going to start filtering those out. And that's not me having to present the audience, but it's about the family businesses just telling their story and their learnings. And we're trying to keep it focused on topics around family business, so something that people can attune with or resonate with, but that isn't COVID-19. You know, it's trying to sort of think, there's lots of experts out there who are doing a great job in telling us what's what and where to get the right things from. But it goes back to my point that I said before about remember what would you do as a business. And I had to, you know, earlier this week, you know, I had to remember, actually, people know us for our storytelling. That's how we add value. And I think that's the summary for this with your customers. You know, what do you do that adds value to your customers? And how will that then help you get new customers as well?
Yeah, help them to help you. Really,
yes,
definitely.
Yeah, and don't be afraid. And I think don't be afraid to ask people. You know, people want to help, so don't be afraid to ask them. What can we do? What's different? What do you want? Because that's the best thing that you can pick up the research to help you then move forwards and run your business.
Yeah, I have to say, it's a pattern that I've noticed. I don't know if you have, but just before this call, somebody that I know as part of a mastermind group I'm in reached out to me in a video call. Isn't it funny how video calls are now the normal call? They're not just I don't know why, but video call, and said, you know, look, I do video marketing. You do marketing for estate agents. Surely there's some collaboration. We probably wouldn't have had that conversation had we not been in lockdown. It's given him, you know, the thoughts of, I call it idea sex, where you get this idea and this idea and details. The idea was that, you know, that he probably wouldn't have reached out otherwise. And, you know, I'm kind of creating and maintaining a community. You're doing the same in your community. And what happens is that people who would never have thought about collaborating have suddenly collaborated. I don't know whether you saw, it's on the Ashdown Jones page actually, yesterday or the day before I shared it, Jeanette Hardy and Danielle Barker.
Oh, that video is amazing. Yeah.
Amazing.
No, I did, and since then, just so you're aware, Elaine, who does the cakes.
Yeah.
So I also, as one of my other hats, is I run This is Cumbria, which is where we take food and drink businesses, give them a platform out of Cumbria. And obviously Elaine was looking to do a crowdfunding video to help her get to the Farm Shop Deli show, which is where we take them. Now, obviously things have changed with that, but following that video that you shared, I then connected with Elaine, and she hadn't clicked, because obviously we run the This is Cumbria in partnership with Keith and Jackie of Thomas Jardine and Co. But obviously her contact had always been with Keith. So it was lovely. So we have ended up connecting on LinkedIn so thanks to you on that video.
Wow. Well, actually, not thanks to me. I was just kind of a conduit, and that's supposed to be making.
But well done, Jeanette.
Yeah. So Jeanette sent me the video and said, she's basically saying, can you share it? And of course, I was blown away by it. I thought it was amazing. So I shared it. Now you've seen it. Now it's benefited somebody in that video. Overall, it's going to be shared so many times. So many people are going to see it, and there's 18 businesses there that would not have had that airplay had we not been in lockdown. And this is a funny thing, isn't it? Why don't we do these things out of lockdown? What the things that we should be taking out of lockdown and carrying on with, and particularly creating community, I think is one of them.
I think, and on that, with your customers, one thing that I say was I probably don't do enough is, when you work with a client or a customer and you do a good job, or they've had value from your engagement, what I'm not great at is then asking them who else would benefit from being part of this, or is there someone else who can do that? And actually I think being in this lockdown period is something that's really reminded me that I need to really work on that, because some family businesses for me have come forward in where they've never been in the headlines for or platform, and they're doing incredible things with home deliveries and because they've really thought on their feet of what they could do to keep going, to survive and keep going. But I've then picked up with these people, and I have to say 3 out of 4 of them have all said, oh, we know who you are. And I was just like, well, why have you never picked the phone up, and then all of a sudden you get that platform. So I think learning, thinking of your future customers is, we also have to do a bit of work ourselves on that, and a bit of for me, definite self-development on, don't be afraid to ask people who else that we should be talking to, and who else would benefit.
If you've just done something for them. So, so for example, Jeanette, that's a prime example. I mean, she lives in Dent, so she's a little bit far away, but she asked me to share it. I shared it. Now we're talking about it, so we're giving it even more airplay. I was ever going to ask her, who do you know is selling a unique home right now? Now would be the time, because I've just done that, I've given her a gift. And now hopefully she would reciprocate with a gift. And that conversation needs to happen more often than we're actually thinking about it.
Well, I've spoke to Chestnut House, who are doing amazing things. They're all online at the moment by doing deliveries, and it was through another contact that they said, well, they're a family business. So I made contact because I obviously wanted to sort of help, and I just then got back this lovely email that just said, oh, we're doing this, but have you not spoken to? And then listed like 7 or 8 other family businesses in their area who are all doing amazing things at the moment. And you know what? I didn't know 5 out of the 8 that they sent, and that's brilliant,
Yeah,
and
that's great.
So to me, talking about what does success look like, for me, that day was a real success, because I've then got some other family businesses that I can hopefully help and make and give them a community and a platform to be part of.
Yeah, and if you are, by the way, quick pitch, if you are a family business and you're watching Sue and you've never heard of her, or you don't know what she does, or you don't know what the Family Business Network is, get in touch, because it could be the best thing you ever did. And I think that what you've just said has really driven it home to me that, in a way, lockdown's having the opposite effect, the effect that I thought. I thought we'd kind of all shrink into our little ivory tower. We've actually expanded, and we're reaching out to new people and making new relationships. And I don't know about you, but if I go for a walk at Brant Fell, I know everybody's local, so I'll stop and talk to everybody now.
Oh, I'm saying hello to everyone. Yeah, I think I think it's more, I think people might run a mile now, because every time I see a person in the distance, I'm almost trying to walk, social distancing obviously, but trying to walk really fast to catch up, so at least I can say hello. So, yeah.
And actually the guy that phoned me this morning, he was a local guy, Andrew, if you're watching this, you know, he said, oh, well, do I know you then? Because after we talked a bit, and I went, yeah, because I waved at you in the van the other day. I was a lady with the dog. And because there's no tourists in the way, we know we can have direct conversations, and they're almost certainly a local. Apart from, did you hear that funny story, funny but bad, Caroline Kay put up, that somebody had pulled into her lay-by outside her hotel.
Oh, no, I didn't hear.
He was doing a wall. Somebody pulls up in the lay-by, 4 people in the car. One of them goes, do you know where the Lake District is? And she kind of went, well, where are you from? And they went, Birmingham.
No. Oh, yeah.
Shocker. Anyway,
I don't want to get onto that.
No. But Elaine's just put in the comments, great story. So really great to connect with you too. So that was fantastic.
Yeah.
Alison, Tordorf, Flock, so Sophia and Janet and Petra are all watching as well. So that's good.
Hello.
A variety of different businesses there. Some are physical, some are online, you know, some are on lockdown, some are doing little bits and pieces. I mean, I know Elaine's doing a lot of stuff behind the scenes at the moment. Yeah. But so I don't know if we've actually even done any of these 5 tips, sorry.
No, I haven't.
We're chatting. Should we just I'm just conscious of time, that's all, because I know that
do you want me to go through what I would say? So yeah. So,
I could talk to you all day, Sue, but we better not.
No, I might bore people. So I think there's 5 things. I'm trying to do my hand. Oh, there you go, 5. So identify customer base. Look at who your future customers are. Think about what's happening now and how you can then work on that to make that sort of happen for going forwards. No business is viable without customers, so it is business critical. So thinking of these five things, it's a business critical. Financials, obviously everyone's in different situations at the moment with financials. Don't be afraid to not talk to people, talk to the experts, get some help. There are ways forward, and even at the moment, you know, if you might feel that financially, how are we going to survive? What's going to be viable? There are lots of things out there at the moment, sort of obviously through the government. If you're any business like me, I don't seem to qualify for any of them. You know, I thought it's just one of those things. And I did get down about it, and then I've picked myself back up, and then I've picked the phone up to a couple of different people who are experts in financial, and actually they've helped. You know, look at you. Don't be afraid to pick up and look at that cash flow forecast. And don't be afraid to forecast for the fact that you might have no business for 4 months, 4 months. But what then comes next? And be realistic. So it is critical to look at your finances. You know, you have
to face the worst case scenario for yourself.
Yeah.
I did actually a list of worst case scenarios, and it was like, you know, I could lose my house, right? So I'm not saying me personally, but that's what people might be thinking right now. Yeah, but, you know, people have suffered worse. You know, I could lose my business. Maybe you could start up again. So actually facing the very, very worst that you're most fearful of, actually, I think gives you some confidence in the things you can do. And you realize, actually, you know, what's actually probably going to happen is something far less worse than that. And therefore you can probably deal with it. Yes.
So I would definitely say, you know, number 2 is look at your finances. That's key. And don't be scared of it. Just do it, and it is a big step sometimes, but get the right help. And if anyone needs any help on who to speak to, give me a shout. I'm more than happy to sort of recommend a couple of people. I think the other thing is thinking moving forwards. This is a time, and there's no one in my team, by the way, as I'm about to say this, so if anyone's listening, I don't want them to think, oh my God, what's she thinking? But you know, we're all having to be agile. We're all having to think about the way forwards. And you need the right people in the right roles. Who's going to help you achieve your end vision, your end game? And actually, it might be that you realise, and this is something that we've realised in our business at the moment, is there is a bit of a gap. And if we're going to do it with a skill set that I don't have, Dave doesn't have, and the current team don't have. So actually a way forwards is for us to be agile and be flexible with whatever the new norm is going to be. We need to look at that. So, but don't also then be afraid to look at yourself. You know, are you in the right role for your business? You know, is there other things you need to look at? You know what? So, and actually, a bit like I'm having, you know, at the moment doing the job of several people, as you are, Sam. Suddenly you might recognise, well, actually, I'm rubbish at this, and I thought I was all right at it, you know. But then there's something else that's coming up, and you're going, I'm okay at this, and so it's also a time for yourself to reflect a little about where your strengths are, and so include yourself in that right people and right roles. That's where, you know, your flip chart and your pieces of paper come up. Don't be afraid to draw things out. Don't write lists, just draw things out. I think the other side of it is, and it's quite true because I'm talking to you in marketing, and you've said that the lovely ladies of Flock are listening as well. You know, this is key. It really is, and this is and I don't mean this. Don't hide away from your marketing and your PR. Don't be afraid to look at that, because actually that is what is going to get you out of this going forwards. But it's also getting advice on what will be the right messaging. And sometimes if that's not your expertise, talk to someone who is an expert in that area to give, you know, look at them. We're looking at it at the moment, you know, what are going to be our marketing channels going forwards? You know, we are going to have to change. There is going to be adaptations. I'm not an expert in all of those areas. So, you know, really look at those marketing channels and the routes to market that will help you achieve what you want to be, you know, have that. And then I think, have I done 4?
I think Flock, definitely, to give a shout out to Flock, they are definitely the people to talk to right now about your marketing message. It has never been more important to get the right message on the right channels than it is now. You know, I'm all for visibility, but if it's visibility in the wrong way, we've got estate agents up and down the country, you know, with the last thing they post on their Facebook page was 3 weeks ago and it said shut for COVID-19, you know? And so it's visibility in the right way with the right message. And right now is the time. Flock aren't quite as busy as they normally are. So now is the time to grab those girls and get them to do something for you that's going to help you turn your business around out of lockdown and make sure that you really hit the ground running.
Yeah, definitely. And, you know, and there's other areas, you know, the marketing channels are key. Yeah. And then I think the 5th thing that I would say is business critical is you need, and it goes back to like, what does success look like? What are your measurements of success? So how are these things that we've just talked about, how are you going to measure that whether what you're doing is successful or not? Because if it's not successful, then that's not going to help your strategic sort of planning moving forwards. So you need to then don't be afraid to stop, take stock and have a rethink, and then start again. This is actually a really good time to do that. You know, but you know, and actually more so, I think a learning again, and I'm quite happy to talk about, I think we all learn from each other, but I've learned as well at the moment is, you know, I've actually reflected on some of the things that we've done in the past as well, in terms of, and then whenever we looked at the success of the measurements of them, I'm actually, you know, it's making me rethink of a couple of things that we've done to think, well, actually moving forwards, is that going to be the right thing for us to do? Because looking at the measurements, whether that be measurements on the reach to market, the financials, the clients you've engaged following from it, if that's not, you know, sticking with the measurement of success that you want to set yourself, then don't be afraid to stop and rethink, because whatever you put in place, you need to measure it. And I'm not great at measuring, but I'm learning to become better. It's so yeah. So there you go. Hopefully, I don't know whether any of that's any help. So
well, I'll run through what I think the key messages are, and then you can tell me whether I've missed any out. So don't be afraid of finances. Make your cash flow forecast your friend, which is something I bang on about a lot. choose your marketing channels. My message actually to add on to that is to be visible at the moment. Don't go into your little man cave or woman cave. About pivoting, agility. Are you in the right job? Making sure that you're doing what you want to do, and actually very importantly that you've got a vision and a goal at the end of that. So what does success look like to you? What are your success metrics? And are you on the right trajectory, or do you need to pivot now? And then who's your audience going to be coming out of lockdown? And do you need to make some changes now? They're going to make sure that your audience are the best audience for you for success in the future. I've remembered everything.
Yes, and I think, can I just wrap up with one thing that sort of sits outside on that? To move forwards, to keep yourself engaged and to keep the belief and the passion, because if you haven't got that, your team aren't going to have that, and they won't be with you. So strong leadership is going to be is absolutely key. So that doesn't come in it is part of the strategy, but that's a personal thing, more than ever. People will need that leadership, but what they want to see in that leadership is that you've got the passion and the belief that this will work and we can make it happen. And if you do that, then your team will follow, or not your team. If you haven't got a team, you've got customers and you've got clients and you've got networks and an audience. They will believe in what you do, and if they believe in what you do, then that helps.
So. And you are partially responsible for the confidence that your customers will feel in the market anyway. I mean, we're the same in Ashdown Jones. If I start saying, well, I think the property market's going to drop by 30% over the next 6 months, and I don't know whether we're going to be able to reopen again, imagine what that would do for our customer base and our audience. We don't feel like that, luckily. Hopefully nobody's watched just that bit and nothing else. We all think the market's going to bounce back massively, and because we've got a great audience in we've got a great place to live here, that people are always drawn to this. But I think that, we are, as business owners, responsible for the confidence in our market, responsible for the confidence in our team and our audience. And actually, we have a responsibility to that and accountability. And, even if we feel like we're winging it some days, and who doesn't, if you can just display a level of confidence and smiling, then actually that's all people want of you. And people feed off that. Now is the time to step up as a leader, definitely.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Can you just explain very briefly, Sue, what can you do to help small businesses? So as they come out of this, when they need some strategic advice and some help, what can you do to help small businesses coming out of this?
So whether you're a family business or non-family business, I think, it can work with both. It's where I am. I'm a good listener. I can help see. I can see the bigger picture. And what you might think that you need to do might not actually be what you do need to do, if that makes sense. So I think the first thing that I can do is I will listen. I'll learn about you and your business. And then from there, if I'm not that person or that expert, and a lot of what we do through the network, is I will signpost you to people who I know can help you. Because that's where I know that it's adding value to my audience, really. But then if I can help you, then absolutely I will work with you to help, whether that be being that mentor, just the person who you might have an idea and you just need to soundboard it, or more commercially can work with people in helping implement business development strategies and sort of helping making those happen, not by being delivered by other people, and helping manage that into your business to then achieve your overall end game of what you want to do. And I think the question I always ask people whenever you talk, and I think you need to understand to help people, and this is what I think is, do you want a business that's a commercial business, or do you want a business that's a lifestyle business? And I think from there, then that's when as an individual I can help you, the network can help you, because then we understand what then it gives us an idea of what you might want to achieve, because the two are very different. There's nothing wrong with either, but they're very different in how. So, and I think sometimes from an individual of being able to sort of help people, that's where I can help.
No, And you are so insightful. It's so refreshing to talk to you, because you don't mince your words at all. You're very direct.
I'm quite blunt.
Yeah, I like blunt. I don't want to try and guess what you mean. I want to just know. And I went to a couple of years ago, because we were thinking about franchising Ashdown Jones, and we actually, partly because of the conversation with you, made me realize actually we don't want to do that. It was taking the wrong path, and that was just really helpful. Just that one conversation. So if you're having those conversations in your head or with your spouse, and one of you is about to kill the other, and these conversations are going round and round and round, that's time to reach out to you, really, isn't it? And just sanity check your idea, and then think about what those strategic steps could be, and is it worth investing in some good strategic implementation advice and help right now to help you hit the ground running further down the line.
Absolutely.
Right. Thank you. And as Sue said, people are welcome to reach out to you, to ask you for advice, to book a short free consultation with you, and although she is very busy at the moment, she will always make time for a local business.
I will. Always.
I know you will. I know you will. You're great. And there's lots of people that have said hello as well, so I'll get you to go on and answer some of those afterwards. Eric said he loves the advice about doing things that excite you, so thank you for that. Brilliant, ladies. Thanks for your advice and help. That's from Elaine. So quite a few people that we know have been watching. So thank you very much. I'm glad we got there in the end. Thank you, everybody, for coming on to part 2. I'll upload parts 1 and 2, and I'll let you go on and answer some of the comments, and I'll make sure I've tagged you properly as well. So thank you. Fantastic lockdown lesson today. Really, really useful. Definitely a lady after my own heart. I love everything you've just said. It's brilliant, and it's exactly what businesses need to hear right now.
Thank you. Well, thank you very much for the opportunity, and you're doing a great job. So
thank you. I love it. It's just, I just feel like I'm indulging, all my questions and speaking to all the people that I love locally. It's brilliant. Good. All right. See you soon. Thanks a lot.
Bye.
Bye.